This video is sponsored by Normandy 1998, Ash, Team Valor, and Truman. We resume with our heroes on Route 35 as they make their way to the site of Ash's next gym battle, though before they can do so, they must first make a slight detour for something Bugsy has been dreaming of since he was a small boy. This is of course the bug catching contest in the national park. Since as Johto's preeminent bug collector, he cannot bring himself to miss out on this celebration of his favorite type, not when it's so close by. Though she does not wish to partake, Domino as an aspiring Pokemon watcher cannot help but wonder what sort of Pokemon will appear, and Ash just wants to have fun with his friends, meaning this stop receives unanimous agreement. Arriving bright and early on Thursday morning, Ash and Bugsy both are among the trainers who sign up, with the two sons of Azalea Town fist bumping as they vow to give it their all and may the best man win. When they're assembled, the referee then explains the rules. Each trainer will make their way into the park in pursuit of bug-type Pokemon to catch. While they may use whatever means they deem necessary to achieve this ends, there are a few provisos they must adhere to. First, they may only use one Pokemon for the duration of the contest, with the rest remaining in the spectator area or with the officials. Second, no competitor may leave the park, with anyone being found out of bounds instantly being disqualified. And finally, they cannot use their own Pokeballs, instead needing to use the specialized Sport Balls. When the time limit ends, all competitors will be required to present one catch for judging, with factors such as rarity and power determining who the winner is, with their prize being they may keep their capture, while the rest must all be released back into the park. Noting their understanding, the trainers then each take their mark alongside their chosen Pokemon, with this being Ladybug for Ash and Scyther for Bugsy. Then, on the referee's call, they all take off at a sprint. Having grown up around Ilex Forest, Ash and Bugsy have no trouble heading up the pack, though while Ash keeps Ladybug close, having it hang onto his shoulder so he can rest up for when the battling begins, Bugsy and Scyther take flight and scout ahead. This gives the purple-haired gym leader an early lead as he quickly comes across and catches a Caterpie, all the while Ash takes a more eclectic approach, scaling a tree and scanning the foliage while staying very still. Somewhat perplexed by this action, Ladybug quietly buzzes a question, though smiling confidently, Ash explains that he's actually employing a bit of his grandpa's wisdom, since when it comes to picking apricorns, the strongest are those still clinging to the trees, as they're the ones who manage to hold on in spite of everything nature has thrown at them. From the slight roll of her eyes, it is clear that Ladybug is not entirely convinced that the principle applies equally to Pokemon. Though trusting her trainer, or perhaps simply being too lazy to countermand him, she does as she's told, driving a series of Mach punches into the trunk, causing it to rattle and sway, as several bug types angrily converge on her and Ash. Nonetheless, the boy has nothing but smiles, as he orders Ladybug to next use Attract, with this causing most of the bugs to stop in their tracks, though a lone Combee continues buzzing right at them. Deeming this Pokemon to be a prime target, Ash and Ladybug then drop down to the ground, with Combee following and launching a gust attack which hits for super effective damage. Nonetheless, Ash's Ladybug strike back, having her slam into a fellow bug type with Tackle, since none of her other moves can do any form of serious damage. Due to Combee not being the strongest of Pokemon, this knocks it off course and into a tree branch, priming Ash to catch it, though when he lobs his Sport Ball, the tiny bee Pokemon simply flaps its wings for another gust, blowing the ball away. Figuring that he needs to weaken it more, Ash changes tack to focus on speed rather than raw damage, calling for another Mach Punch, with this allowing Ladybug to close in quickly and pummel Combee with her many arms, while Ash cheers his friend on, though this only seems to anger the would-be Queen Bee more, as it alone is worthy of adulation, with it taking this wrath out on Ladybug by blasting her with a point-blank gust that traps her in the center of a small tornado and drives her back into the ground, pinning her down, all the while assailing her with more super effective damage. Urgently, Ash cries out for Ladybug to break free, though it seems nothing she can do is enough to escape her windy prison, with it seeming like this is the end for their bug-catching contest run. That is until Ash strikes on an idea, and so pulling out his ace in the hole, declares that if Ladybug wins, he'll give her a special snack. At once, the 5-star Pokemon's eyes begin to burn with white-hot passion, though this is not the only part, as when she cries out her name determinedly, a bright white light engulfs the bug flyer, so when she bursts into the air swatting away the gust, it is as a fierce-looking Ledian. However, now that food is on the line, she does not stop there, jetting upwards towards Combee and planting a full-power Mach Punch right hook into all three of its faces. Due to the power of evolution, this is enough to send Combee soaring through the trees and out of sight, while leaving Ash somewhat conflicted. On one hand, his Pokemon evolved, which is awesome, but on the other, he was gonna catch that Combee. Nonetheless, knowing how big this moment is for Ledian, Ash rushes over to congratulate her, with Ledian flying towards him, her arms outstretched to embrace him, or at least, that's what Ash thinks, as when he goes to wrap his arms around her, she darts out of the way, flying over his head and diving headfirst into his backpack, evidently intent on finding her snack. Unfortunately, due to this, time runs out before Ash is able to catch a bug type, meaning he is disqualified. Though thankfully the same cannot be said for Bugsy, who presents the judges with a spinnerack, which is a rarity indeed, as they do not usually reside in the national park, causing a brief delay while the officials check the security camera footage to ensure Bugsy did not go out of bounds. However, once it is confirmed that the gym leader did not cheat and really just is that good at catching bug types, he comes a little surprised that he is declared the winner, and thus allowed to add spinnerack to his squad permanently. Following this, the trio then get back on the road, taking Route 36 east towards the crossroad of Violet and Necrotique cities. However, this is not to say that it is entirely smooth sailing, as a few days into their trip, they find their path blocked by a strange tree with bark almost like stone that gives no sign of budging when they try to push past it. Letting out a defeated sigh, Bugsy suggests they'll have to backtrack and find another way onto the route, with this dismaying Ash, as he moans that it's not fair that his plans have been derailed by a stupid tree. Though smiling sweetly, Domino speaks up for the first time in a while, stating that as a Pokemon watcher in training, she can confirm that it's not actually a tree at all, but an exceptionally rare Pokemon called Sudowoodo. At once, Ash's sorrow turns to glee, as he calls Domino incredible, asking if it's a grass type like it appears. Though shaking her head, she explains that it's a rock type, so his Turdile should be able to deal maximum damage if he were to battle it. Unfortunately, it seems Ash will never get this chance, as at the mere mention of the water type Croc, Sudowoodo breaks out in a terrified sweat and bolts off into the trees, leaving the road clear, though forcing Ash to wonder if he's cursed to not be able to catch any new Pokemon. Thanks to this minor delay, Ash and Co decide to keep walking for a while even when night falls, using Ledian's glowing powder as a faint light source. Unfortunately, this serves as something of a beacon, with it not taking long for two pairs of eyes to catch sight of them from out of the darkness, and begin stalking them from a distance. Back with the heroes, Domino shudders, asking the boys if it feels like someone's watching them, though with a wave of his hand, Bugsy assures her it's probably just the native bug types of the forest, while Ash backs up his buddy, telling the blonde girl not to be such a fraidy meowth. That is until the two strangers step into view, yelling at the trio to halt, with this causing both Ash and Bugsy to jump with fright, as the speaker next orders them to put their hands up and not try anything funny. On closer inspection, it becomes clear that the newcomers are in fact a young man in a police uniform and a Hoothoot who is perched on his shoulder, its glowing red eyes acting as a searchlight for the officer as he traverses the dark woods. In a confused voice, Ash asks why he is stopping them, since they haven't done anything wrong, though with a scowl, the young policeman retorts that this is a likely story, since recent reports have placed a dangerous criminal carrying odd Pokeballs in this area, and from the look of Ash's belt, he fits the bill perfectly. A little offended that this guy would call his grandpa's work odd, Ash protests that he's no criminal, he's just a regular trainer trying to make it to the next city, with this earning him a suspicious sniff, as the officer states if that's so, why don't they have a battle to prove his innocence? If Ash wins, he'll let him off with a warning, but if he wins, he's taking the boy and his compatriots in for questioning. Seeing no way around this, Ash accepts, telling Voltorb to help him out, while with a flap of its wings, Hoothoot flutters down from the policeman's shoulder, signaling that it's time for the battle to begin. Wanting to clear up this misunderstanding as quickly as possible, Ash tells Voltorb to start rolling and building up power for a Thunderbolt, with the cop calling this cowardly criminal behavior, though his Hoothoot will show him that it can endure his electric attack. So come on, have at them. However, here Ash explains that it'll take a minute, as his Voltorb is special, needing to build up kinetic energy for its electric move. Haughtily, the young officer calls this just further proof that flying types are better than electric types, as he orders Hoothoot to use Confusion, since that will hold the suspect in place. However, being quick-witted, Ash's Voltorb counter with Magical Leaf, just before he is brought to a stop, as thanks to being an unerring attack, these leaves strike the bird head-on, breaking its concentration, and allowing Voltorb to resume rolling with minimal loss of momentum. Looking a little flustered at what he dubs dirty tactics, the policeman next tries for a peck, seeing the little bird fly after Voltorb and repeatedly nipping at his back, but never being enough to stop him. In spite of this, Ash knows this could cause a problem down the line if enough hits are dealt in quick succession, and so has Voltorb slow down, causing Hoothoot to overshoot, while allowing the electric type to give it a taste of its own medicine as he hits it in the back with Tackle. Somewhat hypocritically, the young policeman calls this a cheap shot, though if this dirty criminal wants to turn this into a physical clash, so be it. He then tells Hoothoot to land in front of Voltorb, reasoning that its stalwart spirit will serve as a sufficient roadblock to the sinister sphere. While a good idea in theory, it has a few holes. First, when Voltorb does indeed collide with Hoothoot's beak, he does not stop, but instead keeps spinning in place, meaning he can build up more energy even while stationary. And second, this creates a conduit through which Voltorb can fire his electrical attack when it is ready, blasting Hoothoot point blank for extra damage, and causing it to leap into the air with a pained squawk. Worriedly, the young officer cries out for his friend, showing the first signs of a heart beneath that uniform, as Ash grins that it looks like they're not so different after all, as they both love their Pokemon. Though scowling only deeper, the cop tells him not to compare himself to an officer of the law before ordering another peck. This time the hit does land more successfully, bowling Voltorb into a nearby tree. Though grinning confidently, Ash tells them they can use this to their advantage, stating it's time to bust out that trick they used against Bugsy. Eyes flashing at this, the young orb then pushes off, bouncing from trunk to trunk as he builds up momentum and power, while all around him, electricity begins to crackle. Slight panic in his voice, the policeman demands to know what this move is. Though grinning, Ash replies it's not a move, but rather something they came up with while putting their heart and soul into their training. He then has Voltorb lunge at Hoot Hoot, and with all the speed he's gained from bouncing, he has more than enough juice to barbecue the bird, emitting a massive thunderbolt which lights up the night and ends the battle in one fell swoop. However, it seems that this move has shed light on more than just the clearing, as when the police officer rushes in to cradle his fallen friend, he sighs that he sees now. Ash and Voltorb really do have a history of trust and friendship just like him and Hoot Hoot, so perhaps he was wrong about them, and they're not the villains he was looking for after all. Hanging his head, he then introduces himself at last as Faulkner, with Bugsy saying that he remembers hearing he was going to be the new Violet City gym leader, and asking what he's doing out here. Sheepishly, Faulkner explains that lately he's been burning the candle at both ends, to prove that he can maintain his duties as a police officer while also running the gym, though he guesses all this overwork has made him overly suspicious and paranoid, for which he hopes the group can forgive him. Good-naturedly, Ash replies that it's fine, since he wanted to battle Faulkner anyway for his badge, as he's doing the gym challenge, with Faulkner perking up, as he states that in that case, please take his Zephyr badge, both as a means of apology for harassing them, and as a testament to Ash's victory in their battle. Smiling gratefully, Ash accepts this, adding the third badge to his collection, and declaring that it looks like their next stop is Ecruteak City, though Faulkner urges him to be careful, not just of Morty the gym leader there, as he is something of a trickster, but more importantly of the suspect still at large who he'd been trying to track down, while adding that according to reports, he's a powerful Pokemon thief who can even capture Pokemon who already have a trainer with his rare Pokeballs. Grimly, Ash states this sounds a lot like Tetsuya, for asking if this suspect has been seen traveling with a Sneasel and wearing an iron mask. Nodding that he has, Faulkner questions if this means Ash and his friends know this man, with the trio all nodding, as they explain that he has some sort of interest in Ash and his Voltorb, so they keep running into him. Clearly troubled by this, Faulkner cautions the kid should leave a dangerous criminal like that to the police, though as Ash meets the Violet City gym leader's eyes, it is with a look of stubborn resolution, as he states that Tetsuya drove his grandpa and Voltorb's dad out of their home, while using their precious teachings to hurt innocent people and Pokemon. That's something he can't let stand. So for the sake of their families and their honor, he and Voltorb are going to be the ones who put a stop to Tetsuya's evil ways personally. That's a promise. And that's where we'll leave things. What challenges await Ash and Co on the road to Ecruteak City? How will he fare against the trickster Morty? And can he truly make good on his promise to put a stop to Tetsuya's evil ways? Find out as the journey continues.